This episode has been brought to you by justinform.com. If you're tired of being censored, tired of having your data stolen and sold, go to justinform.com, a social media site where all voices are welcome.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this very important segment of Mikase Sukasen. I am your humble host, as always, Niko House. And today I wanted to share with you all a story that I think is extremely important, probably the most important story of the year. And bits and pieces of it have been getting released throughout the last few years. But the problem with an introductory story such as this one, which involves, Facebook, it involves certain applications, it involves politics, it involves the CIA, it even involves some venture capitalism. They get started, but no one takes them seriously because you don't see the results. And it is unfortunately usually not until people see the results that they believe and start taking it seriously. And so I think at this point, it is important for us to go ahead and start talking about all these connections that a lot of people have missed over the years and start bringing it back together. So, recently, I was on my Instagram, doing my Instagram thing, double tapping it up, checking who double tapped me, which is usually not that many people, unfortunately, because I'm not that good looking. But, I take awesome pictures of my cat, and I think that they're worth the double tap. So if you're on Instagram, go ahead and follow me at NikoMCSC. But anyway, I was on Instagram, and this app came across my page. It said Brigade. I said, oh, this is an app where you get to find out what your representatives are doing in office and what they're voting for. So I said, well, damn, I need that. That would be awesome. So I click on it. Then things get a little weird. So, like I said, they said that it was about finding out what your representatives are doing. However, what it does in reality is a little bit more detailed than that. It actually asks you to tell your senators and your representatives what you want. It asks for your address so that they can verify that you're a voter. If it doesn't really, I feel like it doesn't matter really, but the point is because you can actually, they send that data, right, to the politicians via petition, of course. It's all legal. Via petition to let them know what you want and what you hope to see get done, which sounds like a really good idea. Except for they start asking for, like, when you ask for my address, just ask if I'm a registered voter, and I put my name, my birthday, and my zip code, and you should be able to verify from that. Why you want my personal address is beyond me. But, of course, the suspicious side of Niko, who recognizes patterns such as these, immediately thought, this sounds oddly familiar. I know another company, another social media platform, that just asks for way too much personal information. So let me go ahead and start doing some research. So I did. I said, who started up this company? I look up Brigade, and it was like some random company it was a real estate company in India. It didn't make any sense. It was like that. So this must be a new name change, because in Silicon Valley, when they don't know if an app is going to be successful or if a piece of technology will be successful, they launch it under what's called a stealth name, and then they make the adjustments and then re-release it under its real name. But this isn't its first real name, and we'll go into that in a little bit. So I found out that one Sean Parker actually invested $9 million. Now, some people would say, well, what's the problem with that? That could be a potentially really successful app, especially given the political atmosphere that we found ourselves in recently. It's people have become more politically engaged, especially via social media, and so that sounds like a sound investment. But the thing about an investment is you expect for there to be a clear plan to make money so that you can get a return on your investments. You get that, right? So Facebook didn't make money in the beginning, but there was a clear long-term path and a plan laid out for how they would make money in the future. And clearly they're making a lot of it. So $9 million for something that you have no idea you're going to make money on is a little weird, isn't it? At least that's what it seems like if you're expecting them to make money on the front end. What I assume, this is all speculative, this part is speculative anyway, what I assume is that we will see something very similar to what we've seen for Facebook, which is that they will sell our data on the back end. And they got in trouble recently again for doing that. They just won't stop. And why do I think that? Well, people, Sean Parker has an interesting relationship with this guy named Peter Thiel, who has happened to be the founding member of what's called the Founders Fund. Peter Thiel also might sound familiar to some of you because he was the one who gave that $500,000 initial investment to Facebook. Yeah. But it gets better. There's another investment that doesn't often get discussed when it comes to Facebook, which is the $13 million investment that came from In-Q-Tel by way of Peter Thiel once again. What a surprise. In-Q-Tel, in case you didn't know, is a venture capitalist firm based out of Arlington, Virginia, who has one purpose and one purpose alone: to invest in technology for the CIA. So Peter Thiel and Sean Parker being the one who invested the $9 million into Brigade, which is this political app I just showed you, and Peter Thiel are both connected and were partners in, or are partners in, and later on Sean Parker left. However, he was a partner at the time of making that purchase, but he was a partner in this Founders Fund, connected to the very man who started up Facebook, essentially. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, In-Q-Tel is also, in case you were curious, responsible for Google Earth, which they literally created because the CIA asked them to. Why is this so important? Because there is this theory somehow. That's not somehow. It's the American dream theory, right? You see propaganda like social media. Is that what they called it? Social networking. The Social Network. The movie with Mark Zuckerberg. That was a propaganda machine to get people to think that it's like some feel-good story. That like, if you work hard enough and your technology is great, we'll buy it. You'll find venture capitalists to buy. And that is true to a very, very a marginal, I want to say a marginal degree. Because, yeah, venture capitalists will buy it. That is very true. But the ones who are funding the venture capitalists, who are funding the major projects that show a lot of applicable potential for, like, you know, CIA operations, it's all coming from the CIA mostly. I want you to understand something. Like I said, Sean Parker is connected to the very guy, directly connected. Like, they worked together. They raised capital together to invest in these projects. The very guy who took money from the CIA to start Facebook, the same company that was invented in the college dorm room in 2003, was launched in 2004. Fully launched 2004, where Mark Zuckerberg was already having interviews shortly after, not a long time after launch, not 2007, 2008, 2004. Mark Zuckerberg was having interviews talking about literally what we call today applications. He's talking about applications and how we'll be able to interface with Facebook. Mind you, people, the iPhone hadn't even been invented yet. The iPhone hadn't even been invented yet. The average person hadn't even thought about the term application. I'm sure that he had to a degree, but phones wouldn't even have had really the capabilities that we have right now to talk about applications in the way that we do. And that's how he was talking about it. Like how we talk about applications right now, he was talking about this in 2004, before an iPhone had been invented, people. We were still on Nokias playing Snake and Break Breaker. Now, as you all know, DARPA, the CIA's research and development wing, had this program where literally everything Facebook does right now, storing your data, checking where you go, seeing what pisses you off, seeing what makes you happy, seeing who you vote for, who you don't want to vote for, who to market to, like what things you buy, things like that. CIA had a program that ended in 2004. And then Facebook launched. Like, I think it was like either the same day or the same month. But it was in 2004. And if that doesn't just get y'all excited, Regina Dugan was in charge of DARPA, was the head of the DARPA wing, right before she went over to Facebook. Well, first, actually, I lied. Let me be clear. She went to Google first. So no big deal there. She went to Google first and was made one of the heads. Then she was made the head of the secret research wing, the technology wing of Facebook. And then she only stayed there for a year and a half. Coincidentally enough, during the election, and then like mid 2017, she left. I want you to understand how serious this Founders Fund / In-Q-Tel investment is into this particular app, people. Founders Fund invested in another thing, something else called Quadium. It's owned by ex-CIA analyst. His name is Junio. And he worked for DARPA too. What a goddamn coincidence. What a coincidence. And he was so talented. They had so much confidence in his abilities, people. So much confidence in his abilities. They gave him $40 million. $40 million. And guess what that thing does? Because you know CIA wants it. He's an ex. I throw up quotations because CIA has what they call official assets and unofficial assets. So he would technically be now an unofficial asset if he was still connected to them, which he probably is. So this technology allows him to index every single device, not in a state, but in the country and potentially in the world. It allows you to index every device connected to public Wi-Fi or internet in an hour. In an hour. This is the company funded. This is a company funded by the same CIA connected company funding this Brigade app, saying, hey, tell our politicians what you want so that they know exactly how to pander. Tell our politicians if you vote so they make sure they know who to pander to. So we can get the right people in office. So we can tell Kamala Harris that she likes Medicare for all now. That is dangerous. It is underhanded. And I want you to understand something. If you come across this app, do not download it. Share this video everywhere. If you have this app, and for some of you who had it in 2015, it was actually called Changes. and people were really excited about it. I remember because it was primarily at that point a debate and discourse app, and then Facebook kind of like took that job. Realize something, people. There are no such thing as coincidences. $30 billion, like Facebook being able to be pushed like that. $30 billion for Mark Zuckerberg. I think he's worth a little bit more than that now. Bezos, now worth, like he's richest man in the world by far, not even close. Takes $600 million from the CIA for technology, and then in the same year buys Washington Post for $250 million. The same Washington Post who just loves quoting random unverified CIA assets to throw the American people into a frenzy. The same Jeff Bezos who's worth ungodly amounts of money, who couldn't even turn a profit just 4 years ago. He couldn't even turn a profit. They could barely make money from Amazon. And as soon as the CIA starts injecting money into them, ta-da! Those are the people investing in this particular app. So we have to make sure that, one, we're not worshiping these false businessmen, because they are in fact not actual businessmen. They aren't better than you or I. They're not smarter oftentimes than you or I. They were just willing to sell out. You have people like Mark Cuban who, I mean, good God, the man owns like everything from basketball teams to technology to a broadcast station that he just sold to ABC. He just sold or he partnered with them, and he's only worth $3 billion. And he's like over 80 streams of income. People who are busting their ass all the time, never even touch, never come close to somebody like Bezos. Even though they're also part of disruptive industries and also have large investments in disruptive industries as well. The Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, they made a movie about him because they had to have you believe the story. Because at that time, it was coming out that the CIA had invested in him. Those same people who invested in him invested in this app. So, good. Googly moogly. It's exhausting, people. It really is. Oh, by the way, this same firm invested in SpaceX. So there's that. Should have mentioned that. Look, people. Knowledge is power. It really is. And so, you know enough about Facebook. You know enough about politics. You know enough about the entertainment industry. You know enough, like the broadcast industry. You know enough about these things that it's time to start making a decision. We have to move. We have to have a mass exodus onto another platform. I personally promote Just Inform. You know that. JustInform.com. We've had like hundreds of people registering this week because of all this information that keeps coming out as of late. But there is a coordinated effort, people, understand, to silence us. There is a coordinated effort to influence our opinions. There's a coordinated effort to corrupt even the uncorruptible. Not by saying, hey, we're evil CIA operatives. Here's some money. No, they say, you have a dream. We believe in you. And for a lot of ambitious people, that's all it takes. But even the Twitter CEO, as successful as he has been, he received some money, but even as successful as he has been, has not even come close to like a Zuckerberg. What's the difference? Maybe he didn't get $20 million to start a company. It's about who they want to succeed and who they can use for their agenda. So with that being said, people, remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.